I've got pretty bad cabin fever, and I think the solution to that may be a road trip. I'd like the trip to both start and end at my house in the Bay Area. I'd also like to hit a lot of California's major national parks, like Joshua Tree, Mojave, and Death Valley. I'd also like to sleep in my car, spend the night in strange places, and be able to cook whenever I'd like. I'd also like to have an adjustable schedule, meaning I could add or subtract days or locations as I find necessary. In the grand scheme of things, this shouldn't be too different from both road tripping and camping, but I will do a few things to make sure that sleeping in the car is as comfortable as possible, so the first step is preparation. To be honest, I don't have much of a plan. I have some reflective insulation that I'm going to cut to size to fit each one of the windows to hopefully keep the inside warm, and then I'm going to spray paint the outside to make it a little less conspicuous. And I think I'm just going to kind of figure it out. So let's do that. I need a pen. Alright, so this is what we're looking for, is a seam. So you see it gets the edge there. That's perfect, that's great. Alright, I finished the first one. There's a bit too much tolerance kind of going up and down, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to reflect it and trace it for the driver's side window and make those few adjustments, but this one's good enough to be used. Alright, I finished the passenger side cover. It went pretty well. I'm getting a little worried that every time I insert and take out the cover, it kind of wears down the edges, but I think it'll be okay. Either way, I feel confident enough to move on to sizing and cutting the rest of them. And I'm also realizing that I can use the offcuts from these first two to make some of the other ones, so that's exciting. I just drew on my face. I got another one. Alright, I'm happy enough with them now that I'm going to spray paint the outsides of them, and this will just be so that car headlights and other lights don't reflect back, and I can kind of remain a little stealthy while I camp. Alright, this is day 2 of me building the window shades. Yesterday I completely forgot about the front windshield and also coincidentally ran out of reflective material. So I'm back here at the hardware store to get another roll, which hopefully means I can finish them all today, which would be super exciting. Duct tape. Oh, you suck, you suck, you suck, you suck. I'm out of paint. Oops. I hadn't planned on it, but I think I'm going to spend the night in the car just to check to make sure it's warm enough and comfortable enough. So I'm going to throw in some mattresses in a sleeping bag and spend the night. This is mattress 1. I've slept on this mattress before. Oh god, it's upside down. I've slept on this mattress before and it was not very comfortable. Luckily enough, I have a second of the exact same kind and a mattress topper. Mattress number 2. Last but not least, the mattress topper. So I'm testing 2 main things. The first is comfort, just because if I'm going to spend a week in this car, it really should ideally be comfortable. And the second is warmth. Another thing I almost forgot about was these string lights. They're already in a knot. How is that possible? This might be my least favorite thing ever. Oh, they are pretty though. They are pretty. And that is what we're working with at the moment. I think what I'll end up doing is adding some more compartments and a sheet, but the general idea is there, and I'm excited. So the test night in the car went really well. I was warm and I was comfortable, which was exactly what I'd hoped for. I've also since then attached the license plate to the front of the car because that was missing. And I've gotten more spray paint to finish off the windshield cover. I've also finished setting the car up because I am leaving tomorrow morning. After I shower and load in the cooler and some other personal items, I'm going to be hitting the road at around 6:15 a.m. After I get gas, I'll be heading off down south. It's about a 7-8 hour drive, and I'll explain more about where I'm going when I'm on the road. Alright, so I'm about 2.5 hours in. I've just entered San Luis Obispo. The plan for today is to make it all the way down to a rest stop I found near San Clemente, which is just above San Diego. It'll probably be a total of 7 or 8 hours of driving. I am, however, breaking that up with a stop in Goleta, which is near Santa Barbara, for lunch. So that'll be a nice break. Santa Barbara was great, lunch was great. I just filled up with gas, now it's on to San Diego. Alright, I'm an hour out of Santa Barbara. I've got about 2.25 hours left until the rest stop. I had to stop and get some caffeine because I was getting drowsy. My back also hurt, so I took some Advil, and I was going to give it some time to kick in. So I'm going to chill here for a bit. My back still hurts, but I want to get there before sunset. So I'm gonna push on. Alright, so I have some good news and some bad news. The good news is that my back is feeling better and I'm feeling energized. The bad news is that as I merged onto the highway, a round disc flew over my windshield, and I'm 98% sure it's the lens cap for that lens. So that's great. That's super good. I just pulled into the rest stop. It's super dark, so I can't see anything, nor can I show the camera anything, but I'm excited for tomorrow morning. I think it'll be really pretty from the photos I've seen. And there's a beach like 50 yards that way. I'm also really excited to cook breakfast. I think that'll be kind of a fun start to the day. Yeah. Alright, it's 7 a.m. I've been awake for about 30 minutes. I was awoken by a really loud car. I looked outside and it is foggier than I've ever seen before, so it's super possible I might not even be able to see the beach like I'd planned. But I'm gonna go give it a look. Yeah, this is kind of insane. Can't see past where the parking lot ends. A lot of the truckers are moving out now, which is kind of why I was forced to wake up. Before I get too excited about a beach I may or may not be able to see, I need to go pee. Alright, it's the moment of truth for the beach. And it's a no for Mother Nature. I think I might stall with breakfast and stuff as long as I can, just in the off chance that the fog burns off before I leave. I was just approached by a really cute old man who was telling me stories about cameras and things because he saw I was filming. The only problem is he talked for so long that now my water needs to be reboiled. It's gotten cold. Guy had some interesting stuff to say. He asked me some movie trivia, none of which I knew because I know very little about old film, and apparently that's all he knows. I don't know if he lied, but he told me he had walked from San Francisco to San Diego on the El Camino Real. Alright, I've been here for long enough. It's not going to clear up anytime soon, so I'm just going to head straight to Glamis Dunes. This is so nuts. Visibility is like 0. I peed, I got ice, and I topped up with gas. I think I'm ready to go to the dunes, which is super exciting. This place is super rad and super windy. I've never seen a desert or sand this fine before. Really soft looking. I'm a huge fan of that. I was looking at my plans and I can't quite tell where I'd planned to sleep. The road has kind of disappeared, the road that I found. So it's possible I'll have to change my plans, but we'll find out. Alright, so it's again about 7 a.m. I'm here on the border of Arizona in this really cool national park. Come on. So what happened yesterday was that I meant to stay at this spot along the road, but after some thought it felt a little unsafe, and I found this place, which was about an hour away, and I had the daylight to spare, so I just kind of went for it. It's really, really gorgeous, and so I got here and I made dinner. That was really good. I made some noodles with a bit of a broth stew. That was really good. And then after dinner, things kind of began going a little sideways. My first mistake was that it was windy, the same orientation in which I was parked, which meant that a bunch of dust was blown into the sleeping area in my car, and then onto my sheets, and into my sleeping bag, and into my food. My second mistake, well, it wasn't a mistake. The trade-off for sleeping next to a river, especially one that isn't super free-flowing, it means there's lots of bugs, which meant in turn that I couldn't keep my windows open. And so I got really hot in the car, which meant I couldn't really do anything because I was uncomfortable the whole time. So long story short, I went to bed at around 8:30. Anyway, now my plan is to make breakfast, eggs and Spam to be specific. I think I'm going to switch pans because this one keeps warping. Very content. I think I'll do some reading, clean up, and then move on to the next spot. Alright, so my plan had originally been to stay at that campsite for a little longer and read and kind of just chill out, but it started to get pretty hot, and I kind of felt antsy to get moving, so I decided to pack up and leave. I got a good idea, though, from the people camping next to me, who were very nice, to stop at a truck stop and take a shower. Then after I stop for my shower, I'm just going to head straight through Joshua Tree National Park. And then once I've gone through there, I'm going to make it up to Mojave, specifically Kelso Dunes, and figure out a place to sleep. So yeah, even though I had to leave the campsite, the good news is I'm surrounded by some of the coolest desert I've seen on my trip so far. It's weird, it seems kind of counterintuitive to enjoy the desert because it's kind of nothing, but I think that's what makes it really pretty. You can see so clearly the absence of human intervention. Obviously you have power lines and roads and things, but to a degree you rarely see there's very little intervention, and you can see that for miles, and I love that a lot. Wow, look at all this. Oh yes, this is what I'm here for. Well, those are some nice rocks. Alright, I've seen some rocks that I desperately want to climb. I am very excited because I just found salt flats. I didn't think that there would be any on my route, but I was wrong. I was super wrong, and I'm super happy. Let's go check them out. Alright, I've set up camp in Mojave. I'm about a mile from Kelso Dunes. The reason I didn't want to go all the way was because the road is super potholy, and I didn't want to attempt that in the dark in my essentially Prius of a car. So now I'm just going to enjoy dinner. So I woke up this morning and looked down the road, which is where I thought the dunes were supposed to be, and there was nothing there, and I got super bummed out. and then I turned like 90 degrees, and look at that. That's all saying that I'm going to climb it. This hike is so going to be worth it, but walking in the sand is killing me. I walked from all the way down there where those cars are, and I've still got to walk all the way up that hill. And while distance-wise, it's not a lot left. It's so steep. I'm 100 feet from the top. It's right there. And I'm pulling the pin. I'm so tired. Every 10 feet I walk, I have to stop and aggressively catch my breath. But, oh my God, what a view. Oh my God. I realized that I haven't had lunch, so this feels as good a place as any to stop. My original itinerary today was supposed to be Las Vegas, spend the night in a casino parking lot, but I think the decision has been made to skip over that. So instead I'm skipping straight to Death Valley. I'm going to stay at Wild Rose campsite. Additionally, on the way, I'm going to stop at Mosaic Canyon Trail, which looks super, super cool. I'm willing to bet that I'm the only person to ever eat hot soup in Death Valley. I guess to be clear, I'm not sure that I've actually entered Death Valley yet. But I'm in a valley, and it looks pretty dead. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm not, in Google Maps, I'm not in the green that indicates the national park yet, so, but I'm close. And I reckon that it won't change too much from what it looks like right now. So anyway, I kept driving, and eventually I did make it to the actual Death Valley National Park, and boy was I wrong. It wasn't totally different from what I'd seen up until then, but it was so much more grand and beautiful. So anyway, I drove through, I'd say about a half of it, making a few stops along the way. At this point I was actually getting pretty tired, both from my hike from earlier that day and from these stops and driving. So I decided to rain check Mosaic Canyon Trail and do it the following day, today. Either way, I continued on through Death Valley towards Wild Rose campsite and eventually reached a sign that told me very kindly that it was closed. So I felt a bit defeated, but then I remembered that I'd driven past a little kind of town. I guess this is a town. 10 minutes back, so I drove back and I found this, I guess, camping lot. And it's actually been really great. I was worried that it wouldn't be out in nature enough, but it's been really nice. I have a view of the valley here. I'm at sea level, and I have a general store a few feet that way. So that's been really nice. Yesterday, while cutting onions for my dinner, I cut my finger. Not badly, but I realized I forgot to sterilize it, and it was onions. And I've cooked since, and so it's gotta be super gross. Oh, there's definitely dirt in there. I'm all good, see? So I've realized that for the past day or two I've been somewhat cranky, and I haven't really been able to figure out why. But as I was packing up to leave this morning, I realized it's because I'm super tired. So instead of heading off, I just did nothing. Well, that's not entirely true. I read, I splurged on a general store lunch, and it's been really nice. And now it is 23 minutes past checkout time at this particular spot. So I'm going to decide if I want to stay here for another night or stay somewhere else or move on to the place I'd actually had planned. So I made it to Mosaic Canyon Trail. It's a lot hotter than I thought it would be. And the pants were not a good idea. It's really, really pretty. Super cool. I don't know how far up I'll go just because I'm still a bit tired. But so far, so good. Alright, I've now left Death Valley National Park and I'm heading towards Searless Valley, which is two things that I want to see. The first is Pinnacles, Trona Pinnacles, and the second is are supposedly Salt Flats. The original idea was to spend the night at a rest stop halfway between here and home, but that doesn't sound super fun, so if I am able to sleep in this valley tonight, I will. Alright, well the Salt Flats weren't much to look at least not from what I can see here, so I'm just going to head straight to the Pinnacles, which I can see vaguely off in the distance. Yeah. Alright, I think this place might take the cake. This might be the prettiest place I've spent the night so far. Yeah, this is no doubt the prettiest place I've stayed. It's also the coldest place I've stayed. And I think that's probably because we're climbing back up in elevation, especially after Death Valley. Either way, I think I'm gonna go for a walk and explore it a bit before I have to pack up and leave. So yeah. I've been trying to reflect upon and decide how I think the trip went. And I think overall it went really well. And I think that's not just because I was able to see so many different things, but because I was kind of able to exercise my problem-solving muscles and do things on the fly and, you know, prove to myself again that I can take care of myself, and that's always a nice thing for a young adult to know. I definitely think the next time I do this, and I really hope there will be a next time, I'll try and do less though. Less in terms of miles driven and places seen, and spend more time doing the smaller things. Things that I definitely knew I wanted to do from the outset, but things that I kind of forgot to make note of just because I thought they were obvious, and so I ended up forgetting to do them. Things like reading more, and giving myself time to like cook in a way that makes it fun and not stressful. And just looking at scenery. A lot of these things I didn't really make enough time for, and I think that's part of the reason I burnt out, you know, after a few days, was just because I didn't give myself enough time to do these things and relax. And I still had so much fun and saw so many cool things. But next time I think I'll do less but do more at the same time, and I'm super excited for that. Well, that's that.